right along the White River. It's over to my right. Came out to check on a job site, and now I'm heading back to Mountain Home. And I wanted to just chat with y'all for a few minutes about some things that have been in the news that I think will strongly affect the prepper community, people who are thinking about prepping, people who are thinking about how to survive in a crap hits the fan scenario. And that thing is, the main thing is, have you all heard the headlines, seen the headlines about how they can target our DNA with bioweapons now? So what they're saying is, don't give your DNA to 23andMe and things like that, because it can be used to murder you. So at this point, I don't think too many of us are surprised about what's happening in the world with culture, with the globalists. Like, it's pretty hard to be surprised at this point, right? But here's the thing. I know so many people who are getting prepared, but they're also planning on relying on fish and game and things like that. Now, out here where we are in the Ozarks, we have a ginormous deer population. What some of you may not know is that our laws here allow you to harvest a certain amount of deer on your own property every year without any type of permit. If you see a deer in your backyard and you're within that limit, you can shoot it. You can shoot it and eat it. And so it is abundant. We have an abundance of all types of wildlife, including fish, fowl, and critters. And so most people here, a lot of people think, well, I'll prep and store some things, and I'm going to help feed my family off of the deer or the fish. Which I think 30 years ago would have been a great idea. But here's what we just learned, my friends. If they can make bioweapons to target individual DNA, they can make bioweapons to target all the deer. They can make bioweapons to target all the fish. And if you think these evil freaks will not do that, if you think these evil freaks are going to let us all, you know, be down here prepping and living off the land whenever their goal is to starve us all out, you ain't thinking too smart. And they can do that with every single, wrong road. They can do that with every single thing, right? They can target all the cattle. How do you think those 10,000 cows died mysteriously of quote unquote heat stroke? That was a test run. That was a test run. They can target all the cattle. They can target all the sheep. They can target all the pigs. They can wipe this planet clean and start over with their new utopia that has a maximum of 500 million people in the globe. They have the power to do that now. So, you know, they got to take away our guns, right? That's step one. And step two is to starve us out. So I just implore you, honestly, do not plan your survival around hunting and fishing at your local area. Because there is a good chance they will have already poisoned all of the fish, all of the birds, all of the deer. And be an option for you. We all need to be stocking to the rafters now. Stop waiting. Prices are not going to come down. It's not going to get any cheaper. It's not going to get any cheaper. It is what it is. We all kind of missed the boat. If you haven't started stocking up now, missed the cheap boat, and you're just going to have to bite the bullet, suck it up, pay what it costs, and make sure that you have your food stores. And here's the other thing. It's not going to be any cheaper for the foreseeable future than it is right now today, right? So I hear people say, well, I don't want to pay, you know, $12 for a pound of beef. Well, let me tell you something. Let's say you pay $12 for a pound of beef, and there is no oh crap situation, and it's just sitting in your freezer. 3 months from now, that pound of beef could be $23. So now you have your freezers and your pantry stocked up with things that you bought at quote unquote a discount if you bought it now. I know this is hard. I know these are really hard times. It's going to get worse. They are going to do something to mess with us before these midterms. They're already talking about, you know, this monkeypox thing. We've got people on our local social media ginning up COVID again. Oh, COVID hasn't gone away. It's still here. You know, it's coming back in big numbers, which, okay, well, let it come back. We made it through the first time. We'll make it through this time. We're dealing with a global elitist group of psychopaths. These are the richest of the rich. They've been in power behind the scenes for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It's generational with them. Some of them were actual real Nazis in Germany, real ones, and they're evil. That's the bottom line. They're evil. And this is a battle of good and evil. And if you haven't figured that out by now, may God help you. I'm going to switch onto some of the things that are happening on a local level, because I think it's important to recognize that what's happening here is probably happening in your area too. So, whenever you have political parties in your state, the Democrats or the Republicans, which is really a uniparty system. I hope everybody's figured that out by now. Whenever you're talking about Washington, D.C., the Democrats and the Republicans are the same freaking people. With very, very few minor exceptions, they have formed one giant uniparty where they get rich by selling us out and selling our country out. That's what they do. That's how it works. On a state level, you have committees. For example, here in Arkansas, I'm in Baxter County. So Baxter County has a Republican committee and they have a Democrat committee. Now, we don't have a very active Democrat committee, I don't think, because we just don't have that many Democrats. I mean, they're like 20% of the population, 25 max. But they do hold events, they do get together, they do strategize, and they are working in the best interest of the Democrat Party. So we have the same thing for Republicans. Now, as some of you may remember from some of my videos last year, the Republican Party here, the committee, was very, very resistant to having any patriots join. They did not want patriots on. They do not want constitutional conservatives on these committees, because basically they spend all their time, whenever they're not, you know, working in the interest of the Republican Party, quote unquote. They're also making backroom deals and greasing their pockets and making things, you know, super easy on them and their families. They're almost always wealthy, successful people, and some of them maybe came to that, you know, by working really, really hard, but a lot of them had some help along the way, and the help came in the form of doing favors based off of their political affiliations, okay? So we have like 90 counties, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less in the state of Arkansas. Last weekend, we had our state convention, and that's where delegates from every county go down to Little Rock in this case, get together, have a meeting, and talk about the future of the Republican Party in the state of Arkansas in our case. Well, we, Baxter County, have 33 delegates because we represent one of the larger areas. Of our 33 delegates, we had 26 patriots. Because we finally infiltrated that committee. I don't really like to use that word because it makes it sound like we're doing something nefarious, which we are not. We're exercising our constitutional rights to be involved in the electoral process. But they look at it as something nefarious. See, here's the difference. We're in it because we are desperately trying to save the country, and they're in it for power. And this has become so crystal clear. So, we put 80 people on that committee in February when they have what's called open filing. We had a bunch of patriots go down to file. We had our county convention last month, and basically we took it over. Just by numbers. I'm just talking about numbers wise, okay? So several other counties did this, including Pulaski County. Pulaski County is Little Rock area, okay? So they have 71 delegates. 71 or 72. Whereas, like I said, we had 33. The state Republicans, the Republican Party of Arkansas, refused to allow them seats at the table because their committee was taken over by patriots. And we have stories out of many, many counties in Arkansas where the same issues have come up. Patriots have stepped up, want to get involved, want to help constitutional conservatives get elected, and the establishment elite just throws up barrier after barrier after barrier. They lie, they cheat, they do whatever they can to keep true constitutional conservative patriots out of these committees. Now, I happen to know this also happened in Nebraska, but in Nebraska, the patriots managed to take over the state committee. They now hold the state chair, I believe. This is what we need to do in every state in the country. If you are a constitutional conservative and you are not involved in Republican politics in your area, I strongly, strongly, strongly encourage you to get involved. And look, getting involved is as simple as going to one meeting, seeing what's going on, checking in, finding out what's happening. You know, here with our Ozark Patriots group, we go to the city council meetings, we go to the quorum court meetings, we go to the school board meetings. Basically, any group that receives funding, we want to know, or dishes out funding, that's even more important. We want to know what they're doing, who sits on those committees, what their ties are to the community, and we want to make sure that we, the people, are being represented honestly, fairly, and in a truly constitutionally conservative manner. Now, I have brought many, many, many people in who this is their first foray with politics. In fact, the pastor of our church, who is an incredible businessman, he is a business coach. He pastors our church for free because he doesn't need the money. He needs to serve the Lord, and he does a phenomenal freaking job. He came in, and he was shocked. And he's very well read, and he knows about politics, and he's been around for a long time. And he was shocked to see some of the people on the committee, the way that they acted and behaved. The same with some of the senior leadership at my church. They were shocked. They were like, wow, I didn't even know this was going on. And I guarantee you, if you show up at one of those committee meetings, you too are going to be shocked at some of the things that you see. You just look at what's happening with the school boards. Look at the books. Look at the agenda these school boards are pushing through. Aren't you aware that the people who sit on the school boards are your neighbors? They should live in your community. They should be your neighbors. In a lot of cases, they own the businesses that you shop at. We have to get involved. We have to get involved hard. The time where we can come home from work and sit down and eat dinner and turn on the TV or surf the web is over. Because we're losing. We only have 3 months before this election. And if they shut us down in September, which I truly believe with all my heart and soul that's what they're gearing up to do, you really only have 1 month. You only have 1 month to get in there, to meet people, to network, to make connections, to have the people, the like-minded patriots who maybe are a little bit further along than you, if you're new to it, or they're just stepping in, if you've been in it for a while, to make those connections and have those numbers in your phone, so whenever they shut us down and lock us up in our houses, we can network, and we can plan, and strategize, and figure things out. This is I hate to put it this way, but this is like a real life game of risk, right? You have to understand strategy. You have to understand how politics works. Excuse me. You have to understand who the power players are. And you have to understand how the system functions. And this is where they get us. Because they have been entrenched for a long time, and they have all kinds of rules within the system that they require us to follow, but they themselves do not follow. That's how they cheat. And trust me, they don't care if it's on video, because we have it on video. They don't care if the press talks about it. They don't care. They are the elitists. They are the establishment. They view us as steerage, right? Steerage are the people that used to have to ride in the bottom of the ships because they didn't have any money. They couldn't be up on top in the sunlight. They were down in the bowels of the ship. That's how they view us. Our own quote-unquote side. These establishment, elitist, rhino Republicans view us as deplorables. We are an embarrassment to them. We are an embarrassment to their party. We're an embarrassment to their parties, right? They have big parties before all these events. They don't want us showing up in our flag shirts and our Patriot t-shirts, waving our little flags. They don't want any freaking part of it. We disgust them. And I hear a lot of people talking about how we need to bring the party together. You're never going to bring this party together whenever you have establishment elitist rhinos behaving as Democrats, treating the rest of us like we don't have a right to participate. That is not what the founders intended when they set this country up. We do have a right to be involved in every single part of the process. And what they forget every single freaking time is that they work for us. It's not the other way around. So, I'm sorry, y'all can tell I'm a little fired up. I hope you've at least enjoyed the pretty scenery, although it is kind of dark and gloomy today. We needed the rain though, so I'm not complaining. Yeah, and that's what I have to share with y'all today. I hope y'all are doing well. I implore you, if your thought to survive the coming apocalypse is to shoot the deer and eat the fish, I implore you, have a backup plan, because these people are big evil, and they will practically destroy the planet if that's what it takes to get rid of us. They want you eating crickets, y'all. They want you eating crickets. All right, I hope y'all have an amazing day, and I will catch you on the next one.